Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your twice-weekly pop culture podcast where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. As always, this is the spoiler show, so you have been warned. On today's episode, we're going to spoil the 1976 variety show, The Muppet Show.
Yeah, starting with episode 1, Rita Moreno.
So, this is exciting. Do you know why?
Because you love the Muppets?
Well, beyond me.
Oh, because it hasn't been available anywhere.
It has not been available in its entirety anywhere in a while. I think even syndication, it wasn't in its entirety, like when it was airing on the Disney Channel and stuff. They released the first 2 seasons on DVD, maybe 3, I can't quite remember. But it's one of those things that, like, I totally understand, but I feel like there has to be another way, and it appears there is now with streaming. But it had to do with the fact, with the music rights, that so much of the music, there wasn't, when this was being created, there wasn't reruns, there wasn't streaming, there wasn't DVD, there wasn't home media, like, and so they didn't know how to compensate the original artists of the stuff, which I agree, I'm all for. I think that they should be compensated. However, I think that
there comes a time when you have to be like, come on.
Obviously, like, to use something once, you pay X amount of money. And I think they were kind of being like, okay, so then every further time, you were paying that amount of money. And that's like an insane amount of money. And the other thing is, like, I kind of think it's one thing when, like, an SNL skit doesn't go on YouTube or Hulu, which even that, well, now they are, because we had a couple of strikes the past few years where they've, riddled out some of these details. But for a while, like, there would, if SNL aired with, like, music in it, like the Siren skit is hard to find.
It's Anna Kendrick, right?
No, she did the Little Mermaid one.
Right.
The Siren skit was Christina Applegate.
Right.
And so it was like, I kind of get that, but at a certain point, something like The Muppet Show, where it becomes such a part of the cultural fabric, I feel like there's an over-under where, like, at what point does this become history? And, I mean, that's where, because copyrights can expire and yada yada, but, so I'm not entirely sure what they did, but they somehow cleared it, because
Disney has more money than God now, so they could probably do whatever they want.
So The Muppet Show was a joint production, joint American and English production. It filmed in England, and it was initially broadcast in England, and it was syndicated in America.
Okay.
I think CBS aired it. But because England and America had different standards, the English runtimes were longer. So there would be an additional short skit, usually a song, that only aired in the English. That wouldn't have the host, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting those because there were bits I had never seen in this. So this is a slight retread for us, but I feel like if you're new, then we're doing video, and there's no harm with starting again. So
plus you can see my awesome shirt from Super Yaki. Yeah.
So what is your relationship with the Muppets?
Basically whatever you have made me watch. I used to watch Sesame Street, and I used to watch the Muppet Babies when I was little, but I never did I say Sesame Street? Yeah, okay. But I never really got into the Muppet Show. That was not really like but I did also, though, really like Fraggle Rock.
Okay.
So those aren't Muppets, but they are Jim Henson.
But you were aware of the Muppet Show.
Yeah, I knew
as a thing.
It existed, but like whenever anybody would ask me about Muppets, I would immediately go to Sesame Street.
Okay.
So.
And you hadn't seen any of the movies either, because we've been chronicling.
Yeah, whenever, what was it, like 2008?
11.
So
that was really your first.
The Jason Segel one, that was, I want to say, the first one I'd ever seen.
That's such a solid, reboot, like a solid introduction to the Muppets. I can't wait. It's really good. It's so good. I can't wait to get to it. It's like my brother's favorite.
It's going to be like 3 Thanksgivings from now.
I know.
We might have to accelerate the Muppet movie project.
Yeah, so I grew up with it. My entry point was Muppet Babies, but we had Disney Channel when I was a kid, and I really responded to the colors and the sounds and the everything on the Muppet Show. And so I've seen most of it. Certainly anything that ran in reruns, I've seen. my age and my comprehension was fluctuated.
Fluid in those times.
And I, of course, never saw anything in order. So for me as a 35-year-old adult, watching this is kind of wild.
Yeah.
So we only watched 6 episodes from the first season. And
it's a little dicey.
It is. Well, we watched the first 3. So we watched Rita Moreno, Sandy Duncan. I don't know.
Jim Neighbors.
Yeah. It was like Kenneth, the page.
No, he's Gomer Pyle.
Okay.
Isn't it the Andy Griffith Show?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we fast forward a little bit, because those were in order, and then we just picked a couple that we knew. So we watched Candice Bergen, Vincent Price, and Twiggy.
Yeah.
And
Twiggy was fun too.
Well, okay, so the first episode alone is wild because Piggy doesn't have her voice.
What's real weird. Neither does Janice.
Janice still doesn't. It's upsetting.
And Piggy doesn't even have her right face.
Yeah, I don't like her.
It's trying to be like too realistic to an actual pig. And so her her eyes are also like dead. It's really bizarre.
But she also, her face doesn't match her skin tone.
Yeah, it's not
her skin tone's pink. Yeah. So you were like, she looks like a corpse.
Yeah, she looks dead, or like a dead.
It's like in WandaVision when Wanda looks over.
It's really, really weird.
It's really upsetting.
She got her voice pretty quickly, but she still is like not quite the right character. It's weird.
Because they do even call her Piggy in the first episode, but it's like, it takes a minute. However, because this is another thing that I didn't fully realize, is there is a slight narrative coherence through the season that was interesting to me, because we have the introduction of Scooter.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that was kind of wild to me. And I always wondered why they called him...
You don't look anything like a gopher.
Well, they established that.
Yeah.
That he's a gopher, like a PA. Yeah. He's not a like
a gopher.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that. That's what I thought was funny. That's the play on words to me, is that Kermit, he's like, I'm the new gopher. And Kermit was like, well, we got pigs and chickens and frogs, and you don't look anything like a gopher anyway. And I just was like, that's very good. It's very good. The puns are the best part.
I did find the first 3 episodes a little bit. Well, we know Rita Moreno, and if you know the person, it's obviously easier. When we fast forwarded to Candice Bergen and then Vincent Price and Twiggy, which was kind of in a row, it was surprising to me or interesting to me how quickly the show found a stride.
Yeah.
I feel like those, particularly the Vincent Price one, I felt like was very funny.
It was very funny.
It was very weird, which Jim Henson is.
So was Vincent Price.
It had a thrum of darkness. There was a lot of eating of the puppets.
Yeah. Poor puppets. A bunch of them got eaten in different episodes. They just are like that huge one is just like voring the little one.
Well, there's an old Jim Henson adage where if he never knew how to end a skit, you either have something explode or one of them eat the other one.
Exit pursued by a bear.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But that's also the one where we introduce Uncle Deadly, who I love. He takes on a prominence starting in 2011 with Jason Segel's The Muppets. And he's obviously in this season, or the series. But after the show's over, he kind of disappears literally until 2011.
Oh, wow.
He's around.
He's so fun, and his little feathery wispies are so silly.
Well, he's also one of the ones that I think, like, I consider him canonically queer.
Well, especially now.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the present.
Well, because let's be honest, Vincent Price.
Oh, sure. A little bit.
He has a running bit later with Piggy called Muppet Melodrama, where he's like constantly kidnapping her and like tying her to train tracks and stuff.
That's so funny. I do like the pairing of them, because in the Disney Plus original series that they did last year, it was Piggy and Deadly, and he was like her sort of like woebegone assistant.
Put upon assistant.
Sort of. And I like the stuff that they do together. I think it's a it's a fun and interesting dynamic to have the two of them who seem so opposite actually like find some kind of common ground.
I also think it's really funny because I know you know this because you love Kermit. You're one of the people where you would die for Kermit.
I would die for Kermit. I would do it.
When I was a kid, I never really noticed his personality.
My God.
But
he's so neurotic and he's so put upon and he's so funny.
But he's even a little bit like cynical.
He is.
In this early stuff.
Well, he's the showrunner. He's Liz Lemon.
He becomes a bit of a jester later on.
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. But he is really just like, you know, with an iron grip trying to keep this show going. And he's always like, I can't afford that. And it's really funny how many neuroses he has about running this show.
The Muppets have this weird quality where it's like they're simultaneously it's somehow both for children and adults, but also not for either.
Yeah.
And it becomes part of their brand. I mean, they have an underdog quality built into their brand. And also just like, I never realized how much when I was a kid, what I was responding to was the show business of it all.
Oh, it is
the Muppet is largely about putting on a show.
Well, so the thing I think that's the funniest about Kermit is that he's trying to keep the show on the rails while and that is consistent through all of the movies that I've seen so far, including the two newest ones. But it's like he's trying to keep this show on the rails while surrounded with people, other Muppets who are just like want to do their own thing. And he's just like, let's try to have a moment of adult conversation with the host in every episode. And he's like, we try to elevate and it's just like every time it doesn't work. And I think that's so funny.
It really is, because he's not quite there here in season 1, but he does get to this point where he is a stand-in for Jim Henson because he also he wants to encourage their dreams and their talents and stuff, but he also wants to try and keep them grounded.
He has a budget. It just does remind me of that one 30 Rock where Frank is like doing the robot bear sketch and she's like, you can't have 5 robots and you can I told you that we only have the budget for 1, and they go back and forth and he just goes, how many robots can I have? She goes, 1. Just like that's what I feel like Kermit is in this. It's really, really well done.
Because like I said, I loved it as a kid. I'm curious if kids now would respond to it or if it's a little too old-fashioned.
How young? Because we might be able to get Noah to watch it.
I was literally thinking about messaging Tim and Caroline and being like, put on the Muppet Show. It's on Disney Plus. I'm curious to see if it'll hold their interest at all.
Interesting.
And if so, if any of it, like maybe they wouldn't be watching entire episodes, let alone seasons, but like skits and stuff.
Of it,
because it walks this tightrope between parody and like screwball burlesque stuff, but then actual sincerity. Like,
well, there's also just like folksy old nursery rhymes. The Twiggy thing,
the Twiggy pastiche about the butter for the royal bread.
Yeah,
that's nothing. Like, that's not... I was entertained. I mean, were you?
Yeah, I was, like, actually kind of captivated by it. Because it was just one of those things that's, like, it felt like something I had seen. It felt like, oh, God, the Shelley Duvall.
Fairy Tale Theater.
That's exactly what it felt like. Yeah. Should've just looked up there. That's definitely what it looked like and what it felt like. And so it really transported me back to being, like, 8 years old and
but it literally was just a nursery rhyme. Like there wasn't, because a lot of times there is like an entendre or an innuendo, but that was just straightforward. Like there was a little girl who had a little girl type stuff, and it just told this story about the king getting butter for his bread. And speaking of budget, though, that's one thing that the Muppet Show nails is it does have the budget.
It does.
They have
the sets.
Gorgeous.
Unbelievable.
They're these wonderful, weird sets.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me that they built an entire swamp for a crocodile to swim around and eat the frogs.
Yeah. Well, a little girl Muppet rides on his back singing "Never Smile at a Crocodile."
It was so creepy. It was like, where did this girl come from?
Yeah, why are you riding that crocodile? Where are your parents, little girl Muppet? Are they the ones that are always singing the like right thinking songs? Wayne and Wanda.
Which there's a weird dark undercurrent in Wayne.
It's sort of a Punch and Judy type of thing. Yeah.
Well, because I love that Sam the Eagle, because he introduces it every time, because it's the only, like, respectable number on.
For all of us right-thinking viewers, this is what he says every time.
Well, and then in the first skit, Wayne just straight punches Wanda.
Yeah, that's why I said it's like Punch and Judy, because Wanda is always befallen by some tragedy.
I feel like she doesn't continue. I feel like Wayne continues without her, but we R.I.P.
Wanda.
We come right out of the gate with Veterinarian's Hospital. That's an ongoing one.
Oh, with Rolf as the doctor, and they're making just like medical puns. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My favorite is every time when the soap opera, the announcer is like ending the episode, they all are like... But no, it is really upsetting having Janice still not have the right voice.
Yeah,
I feel like it's got to be season 2.
Really weird.
Because season 2 is when we get a Piggy face.
Makeover.
Yeah.
I do also, oh God, I was going to say something and I totally just... Oh, the Swedish Chef. Because we recently found out, you said it was on I think it was like Seth Meyers or something. We recently found out that the reason that Swedish Chef has human hands is because they just straight up forgot to put Muppet hands on him for like weeks. And then they were like, oh. And so now the Swedish Chef in the year 2021 has human hands and it's the creepiest thing. It's so weird. It throws me off every time. I just had to put that out there.
I think it's funny.
It is funny, but it's also weird and creepy.
But no, I really do enjoy some of them that are just like especially Sandy Duncan. It's like I had a concept of who she was, but I sort of like that she was just this like beautiful, benevolent spirit.
Yeah. That
just sort of like she just kind of came in and like.
Although her opening number was odd. It was a little bit of a consent situation.
I don't even remember what the song was. She was singing about how she was...
What's a nice girl like me doing in a place that stays out or that's open all night or something, yeah.
And she did a lot of shots and there was a lot of guys dancing with her. And they toe that line. It even gets a little...
We do have a little warning placard.
Card that says...
It was made in a time
where the stuff was more common.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the best because you obviously don't want to censor this kind of art, especially something as prolific as this.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just pretend it's not there because then that sends the wrong message. So I think especially if you have young people watching it to be like, okay, here's what happened.
Yeah.
This is the thing. You got to tackle this stuff head first.
I did find it interesting that it was an episodic warning card. It wasn't on all of them. It was like on the ones where they were like, this might have something.
Well, because some are G and some are PG.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Because it was the Native American puppet that we think flagged it, right? Because I kind of thought that a couple of the Rita Moreno skits were a little dicey too. I was like, ooh, I guess.
Piggy was coming at her with some real hot commentary.
Well, that's the thing though, because I was like, well, Rita Moreno was giving back to Piggy as good as she got, but Piggy is a puppet and Rita Moreno is a human woman. And so I was like, it's a little bit uneven, but.
The ballroom skits, they've been in every episode so far. I feel like that tapers off.
I was going to ask you about that, if that continued, because
it does continue, but I don't remember it being in every episode.
Yeah, I didn't know that was like a thing, and I did love I didn't really notice it until this final one, who is on right now? Twiggy. I didn't notice it, but the like big chandelier in the background is just plastic bags.
Oh, is it?
In the background, it's just like draped plastic bags. It's really funny. I was like, because there are a couple chandeliers, but then I think it's supposed to like imply depth of field because it's supposed to be sort of like blurry in the background. But I was like, that's very clever because it just looks like plastic painting drop cloths. It's fun.
Well, actually, on that note, I will say that we have, obviously, the opening theme, but it's not the big Muppet opening theme. It doesn't have the arches, and it doesn't have the name thing that drops down with Gonzo in the middle of it. That was kind of weird, because I think the format of that changes, because I don't remember Fozzie telling a joke in every opening. Another favorite of mine is Rolf, and he had some good... The one that I actually really liked a lot was Oh crap! How did
he was
it go?
like playing the piano?
Yeah, but it was like it's not where you end up; it's how you get there.
Oh,
and he does it once, and it's like kind of sad, a melancholy. And Scooter's like, "There's still time. Play it again, but faster." And so he plays it again, and it's like kind of chipper.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "It's my uncle's favorite song. Play it one more time." And he like blows through it the last time. And not only is it funny, but it changes the feeling of the song.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this got like pensive in a place. And actually, in the Twiggy one, he just does a beautiful piano number. Yeah. There's no actual joke or like thing.
Rolf is so cute. For me, if we're comparing this to like another sort of samey thing, Rolf is like the Daniel Tiger from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh.
Because he is also a stand-in for Jim.
For Jim.
And so I think, but he's more tender-hearted than Kermit is.
Well, because even in that one, the most recent one that he does where it's just pretty, he does mess up.
Yeah.
And acknowledges it. And that's always so funny to me because there are some of the Muppet movies have bloopers.
Yeah.
And that's so funny that it's like they have to plan that.
It's sort of like the Pixar movies, like the Toy Story movies have bloopers. And I think that's super funny because it's as if Woody missed his mark and you're just like, so stupid.
They pair Rolf and Piggy up coming like in later seasons. Ooh. And it's really good. It's a real good screwball dynamic.
Nice.
Because obviously like he's one of the few people who doesn't take her shit.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be funny.
There's one that Andrew and I really loved where she gets a dog named Fufu.
Yeah.
And so they do this like Fufu the Wonder Dog, and she's dressed up like an MC, and he's playing the piano, and she's trying to make Fufu do tricks, and Fufu's not doing anything. And so there's just this bit where Piggy's like, "Who wants to see Fufu dance?" And it's just quiet, and Rolf is like, "It's unanimous!"
Would everyone like to see Fufu dance?
It's unanimous!
Just play the music.
I was gonna say, you said screwball comedy, and I was like, there's a part of me that wants to go back and watch like 80s shows that I never watched before and cover them, like Moonlighting. Like, we should do Moonlighting, like episodic coverage of Moonlighting. But I'm also like, who is gonna watch us talk about Moonlighting? Nobody. I guess we don't know until we try.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought it was interesting that they came in hot with the Kermit and Piggy dynamic.
They really did, in a way that
there was no intro.
Yeah, well, I also didn't think that was an immediate dynamic, Kermit and Piggy. I thought that sort of built, but I guess they really did come in with like, this is what we're doing with Kermit and Piggy.
Well, they had some of them were established. I think obviously Piggy was not, because as evidenced by the pilot, but I know Kermit and Rolf were because they were on like Sullivan or Carson or something. They were on one of those shows. And Jim Henson also originally was on the first season of SNL. And it like didn't work with SNL, but he said that he learned like a ton just from that one year. How do you feel about the Muppet Newsflash?
I think it's funny. I like the newscaster. I've always liked him like as much because he's on Sesame Street sometimes. Yeah.
The Vincent Price. I think the Vincent Price one is one of the first that's like
really good.
Yeah, like out of the gate. Because that's the one with the furniture eating people.
Oh my God.
And it cuts to the guy. Yeah. And I think the reason why it's so funny, it cuts to like a guy in his living room, and his like ottoman tries to eat him, and then his like wet bar, and then all this stuff. But it's so funny because I can't think of what his name is. I know his name.
Yeah, I can't recall it either.
I can't remember his name, but the news guy, he's still talking, like he's still narrating.
But he's also just like, I mean, this is ridiculous. This furniture eating you. Who could do that? Yeah.
And the Muppet that's being attacked doesn't have a voice.
Yeah.
So it's like the weird silence is part of what I think makes it so unnerving and so funny.
And then his desk tries to eat him. His news desk.
The Candace Bergen one was really weird. The put another log on the fire.
That was hilarious.
Did you like that?
That was so funny, just based on her face. Because it's like this man-shaped Muppet who's just like singing about all of the like things he lets her do, like boiling him another cup of tea and putting
fixing the tire.
Yeah, and fixing the tire and darning his socks and fixing his jeans and like letting her go fishing with him. And then she finally just like takes off her old-fashioned dress and like puts on a like a t-shirt with the like female sign and everything, and she's just like socks him in the face. It's really funny. It's never gonna be the type of thing that I'm gonna be like, let's watch 6 consecutive episodes of the Muppets, but I mean, if it's on, I'm gonna laugh at it. It's funny.
So you like understand its place in...
I have always understood its place.
I recall I wish they could properly update it.
Yeah.
Because they did Muppets Tonight in the 90s, and I remember it being hilarious. However, I was literally like 12 and 13. Yeah. But I think it's the kind of thing that could and should maybe not be a constant, but certainly...
but it's like, I feel, the problem is that I feel like, especially the last 2 versions of like the sitcom, I don't think there's been enough... The first version of the sitcom that was coming on NBC did not have enough time to
ABC.
Like... ABC? What? Oh yeah, Disney. It didn't have enough time to get going. They canceled it hard.
It got good, and then they canceled it. And I was like, why did you even bring in a new showrunner if you were like...
And then the one that was on Disney Plus only had 6 episodes, and so I'm just like, I mean, I understand, but like, I want that. Like, I want it updated that way with like a more modern sensibility, but still keeping the spirit of the Muppets.
And I think it needs to be that like thing, that adult and kid thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like appropriate for children, but sort of meant for adults.
Yeah.
Like, I think that works best. And
well, and I felt that way about the 6 episodes that they put out on Disney Plus. I thought it was good because it's like, it's always going to be funny watching Swedish Chef say dumb things and just mash a bunch of stuff together for kids. That's always going to be funny, but it's like the higher level of the joke is what's funny to us as adults. And so I think it works, and I don't know why they have not been able to manage to like make it right. But
I'm blaming Disney, but also thank you for bringing it up.
Shame on you, and also thank you.
So part of me wants to just rewatch the ones I remember because there are genuinely some very funny ones.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that, I don't know, maybe I'll go home and smoke with my brother and watch a bunch of them and take notes. But
yeah, maybe.
I love having it, and I definitely wanted to cover it. And I knew we couldn't sit down and watch 120 episodes.
That's too much. I like it.
To boil down to the...
Yeah, and I would have never been able to like distill my feelings about that many episodes. But...
So we could definitely revisit this in the future, maybe with more direction, like
focus.
More like just pick, for instance, I mean, a fave of ours, Leslie Ann Warren. I feel like I didn't know she hosted this.
Okay.
So I might not have even seen it, because doesn't that feel like something I would know?
It does feel like something you would know.
So maybe we'll just go through and watch Bernadette Peters, and we'll pick like Madeline Kahn and stuff. But let us know what you think about the Muppets, about the Muppet Show, and about Disney's handling of the Muppets.
I mean, we don't need... I mean, if you want, you write your dissertation to us on the YouTube comments, if you want, about how you feel about Disney handling all of your favorite properties. All right. Well, as always, you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching or Instagram @SoI'mWatchingThisShow. We also are now on YouTube. If you're just listening to us, you can catch us over there at youtube.com/SoI'mWatchingThisShow. We also have the website, soimwatching.com, which will link you out to everything if you don't want to remember all of the /SoI'mWatchings in their iterations.
There's 2.
Well, yeah, but which one is which? And then other than that, you can...
Well, the OnlyFans is So I'm Watching, I know that much.
I'm not doing OnlyFans. You can do OnlyFans. Other than that, you just rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And that's it for us. Bye.